Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 4, I believe, of the PAX Pokemon League Draft Australia. There's only 2 of us tonight. So, you already know, well, both of us. I don't suppose we really need to do introductions, do we?
Probably not, but let's say hello anyway. Hi everyone, it's Uncle Kaka.
I'm Professor Fern. Hello. And we are leaders, I guess. I am not really planning too good. So, before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out, actually, to Ortherius, one of the, I believe he's a East leader, who is also putting together another league, much like the Australian Draft League. He's calling it the Grand Pokemon League. Unfortunately, because just the timing and everything, he's closed off entries today. So, yeah, it's a bit late to sign up, but he's got about 10 people in the league, so keep an eye out for that.
We totally should hit him up towards the end of both our league and their league and maybe have a champion off.
We could, or just an all-in brawl, like everyone randomly matches up and off we go.
Yeah, it's a possibility. We could see without that and maybe poke fun and crush the Grand Draft League with the mighty power of the Australian forces.
Who's better, Australian or the US? Well, we already know the answer to that. Come on.
We have Tim Tabs, duh.
Duh, exactly. No competition. All right then. So let us stick our faces directly into it. So here is our first matchup. It is Beaver with the Melbourne Missingos versus the Brunswick Bidoofs, Duke 700. So
we've got a couple of interesting teams. Well, truly banjos here. Seriously, we've got a couple of interesting teams, that's for sure. We've got there's I get confused about which team is which ways around these guys, isn't it? We've got the Missingos with the Beedrill, don't we? And the Stunfisk, the Chandelure, the Xatu again.
Yeah.
And
we're getting very familiar with this team. That Stunfisk caused me no end of grief last week.
MVP, that's for sure.
Ooh, yeah. Between that and the Smeargle, yes.
But no Smeargle this week.
Yeah,
so you're
no
just hiding
Smeargle.
that one again.
Yep, so there's no more of that healing wish trick to get him out this time. All right, on the other side of the fence, we have the Bidoofs. They've bought the Ambipom and the Rotom Mo. You don't see Rotom Mo very often, and I'm actually very glad he's picked it.
It is fast and it hits like a machine gun when it is built right. And I have seen him use that exact build before in various other locations.
Yep.
And from what I see here, this is mostly pretty much his standard 5, with a couple of, well, with basically 2 alterations here. The Mo, which comes in occasionally, and the Meowstic.
Yep. That Hawlucha, I believe, is going to cause no end of grief. Like, if he plays that right, he's going to completely shut down both the Aggron and potentially the Stunfisk with that.
A good built Hawlucha is one of the fastest things out there, and I have seen in Smogon, OP and Uber's Tears, that thing, I've seen it actually do 6-0 sweeps.
Yes. So, shall we press the start button here? And see how this all goes. I just hope this is all going to work properly. Got a bit of a lead in. Holding music. There we go.
So I'm predicting an Ambipom lead into... Beedrill. Okay, that was unexpected.
Yeah, actually, that was probably about the last thing I'd expect him to lead with.
In fact, both of those are completely unexpected.
So Mega straight off the bat.
But it is fast, it is hard, and Bug against Psychic, I'm not expecting that Meowstic to stay in there, not for any length of time at all.
No. So we've got a Protect and a Fake Out, which, okay. Problem with Beedrill is it's a real glass cannon, the Mega Beedrill. It's fast, it hits like an absolute truck, but it just cannot take any punishment.
And of course you got the Xatu coming in straight into the Thunder Wave, which... Beautiful counter there.
Yep. There we go. Pushing out the Meowstic. It's paralysed now, so it's not really going to do any work at this point.
little bit strange he's brought the grass type in against the flying psychic from memory.
Yep, but it doesn't matter because Rotom Mow is stupid quick.
And Volt Switch. Typical Volt Switch.
Yep. Here's a Nina, I'm going to whack your bird. Bye.
On the flip side, though, I mean, that's got that Xatu out of there, so it really can't do any work either. So they're both really down a solid piece here. I'd say probably the Missingos probably in a worse shape than the Bidoofs at this point.
Yes, absolutely. So we got the Milotics setting up with a bit of carb mind here. This is that dangerous Stunfisk, and I really hope that Duke has actually learned a lesson from my battle to not underestimate this thing. It looks stupid, but do not underestimate it.
On the flip side, that Meowstic is setting up, and it doesn't care about the paralysis at the moment either. So even if that Stunfisk can hit it, and it appears to be very much that same special attacker we saw last week, it's not going to do a huge amount against that amount of Calm Mind.
Nope. Yeah, Meowstic pretty much just shrugged off that Thunder Wave there.
Well, the discharge and
sorry.
the Earth Power, yeah.
Yeah, so Stunfisk is just getting out of there because Stunfisk isn't going to do anything. Into the Aggron.
So that's a nice free switch there.
Yep. Now,
Of course,
Aggron with Heavy Slam is an absolute force to be reckoned with, especially if it's got its hidden ability, Heavy Metal.
I'm not familiar with Heavy Metal. What does that do, Fern?
It doubles the Pokemon's weight. So for moves such as Heavy Slam, which is actually based on a Pokemon's weight compared to its opponent, I believe Aggron with Heavy Metal is the single heaviest Pokemon.
Nice.
Non-Mega as well.
And that Mega would make it even heavier, wouldn't it?
It does, but it also loses the Heavy Metal in the process. It drops down to about the third heaviest, behind
Right.
Mega Steelix. Alright, so we're going for another Heavy Slam onto... That Sableye didn't Mega, and it's out of here.
Well, we know that he doesn't Mega that straight away. He really wants to get a bit of that bounce in first. So he only tends to Mega it when he's absolutely ready to.
Yes. Unfortunately, it seems that the Missingos Aggron is set up as an offensive powerhouse.
And it has really forced the team right down there.
Yes, it has. So, Leaf Storm against the Chandelure. It's going to do surprisingly well, all things considered.
Well, it depends what he's actually got that Rotom actually fixed with. I mean, Leaf Storm does hit a lot hard. But if he's got that thing, you know, maybe Scarfed or...
Ooh, that hurts.
What's the jigged?
Yes.
And that thing's still going to do a lot of damage.
It looks to have been scarfed, or choiced in some manner at least.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, Spect. Choice Specs, probably.
There we go, yeah. Whichever the special attack one is.
Yeah.
Alright, so he's not keeping the Chandelure against the Hawlucha. He's going to switch out into the Altaria.
Well, the Chandler really can't take the hit. I mean, he can't go for any of the high jump kicks that we know this Hawlucha does run, because that's just going to do nothing against the Chandler. But the amount of damage that the Chandler had taken, and the fact that the Hawlucha was going to go first and very probably hit with the fact that it is a known Power Herb Sky Attack user, that stab, that's not resisted by the Chandler. It's probably going to go down if it stays in.
Yep. So we're going to change a bit here. The Hawlucha against the Stunfisk. Flight type moves against ground.
And we all know how much Stunfisk is Funfisk.
Stunfisk is absolutely Funfisk. Ooh, and Stunfisk is packing electricity.
That was no shock there.
No.
We are definitely down to the dregs of both teams here now.
Oh, yes. Oh. That Stunfisk does not care. At all.
It honestly doesn't. And the Earth Power against the Steel type, that's definitely got the edge over the Doublade. The Doublade, while it can go first, while it can put a dent in it, it's just not going to do enough. Especially against Rocky Helmet.
Yeah, Rocky Helmet just... Stunfisk discharges in victory. So, Ambipom, we haven't seen this thing very much. I have not really too much of an idea of what this thing can actually do yet.
Well, Ambipoms are a normal type, and I've only ever seen it do a couple of different things here. In terms of the first time I faced it was a opening fake out, which got turned to mark punched. So it can't really take too much of a hit, but it definitely is something that we don't really know what it does.
It can't take earth power, that's for a matter.
It can't take a lot of things, by the looks of it.
So, Stunfisk, definitely Funfisk.
And it did a lot of work in that match there. The Stunfisk and the Aggron were basically that entire team, to be honest.
So, yeah, a victory over to the Bidoofs. Yes. All right. So, shall we just jump straight into the next team, the next battle?
That's yourself with the Noiverns versus Llama and his Perth Coast Cloysters, isn't it?
It is indeed. And this battle, oh wow, this battle. So, let me just pop it up on screen here. Here we go. So, we've got my fairly standard affair on the left there. The Gigalith, the Noivern. The Omastar, the little yellow evil that is the Pikachu. Ultra Duck, the Magmortar. And my best friend, Mega Aggron. Fairly standard. I swapped in the Omastar on this one, mostly on a whim, but also because I wanted a bit more ice coverage because he's got a bit of extra grass in there. That, in retrospect, may have been a mistake, but we will see. We will see.
In terms of what Llama's brought with the Cloysters this week, again, it's a fairly similar loadout to his standard affair. He's got his Arcanine, the Mega Glade, the Green Danger, Evil Duck, the Ludicolo. We had to see that Furfro again.
Yes.
Which we've seen a few times now. We're still not entirely sure what that one's doing. And of course, we've got the Volplume and we've got the Frostlass again. So maybe actually we'll see what the Frostlass is actually capable of this time.
Yes, indeed.
Because he has been alluding that it has got some sort of tech. So I'm not sure what that is yet, but we'll have to see. So what I'm just wondering, Fern, is what were you expecting him to bring? Is this pretty much what you were expecting, or something similar or different? This
is pretty much on the on par as to what I would expect. I wasn't expecting the Furfrou, honestly, but I wasn't really surprised to see it there. The Ludicolo, I was expecting the Mega Glade and the Arcanine, completely expected. Frostless and the Vileplume, yeah, could have gone either way on that. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, on the flip side of it, you've got your Omastar and you've got your Gigalith. I mean, that's very definitely vulnerable to both of those. But obviously, you've got solid coverage in terms of your Magmortar and the Noivern, and that pretty much you got double coverage against each other that way when it comes down to it.
Right. So let us press the play button here. So I wanted to change things up with the start of this match before we wait for it to come up. My normal opening so far has always been the Pikachu go into the Volt Switch for a little bit of scare. I wanted to mix things up this time because I figured that Llama would be expecting that. So instead of the Pikachu, I came out with the Gigalith, figuring I'd throw out a couple of rounds of stones.
Well, given that you got the Arcanine there, that seems to be a fairly good play there.
Yep, exactly right. And yeah, Llama's response to that was exactly the correct one, and he just noped right on out of there. So free rocks for me. That said, though, I'm not really going to keep in the rock type against the fighting fairy. So yeah.
Not given we know that particular fighting fairy also packs Leaf Blade.
Precisely. So switch over to the Noivern. Figure I'm going to. Ooh, what was I thinking at this point? Now that I'm actually watching it in retrospect.
Well, flying does pretty good against fighting types. So if you're running flying types on your Noivern, that's probably pretty scary for that Glade.
Yes,
and you are quite quick as well.
Yeah. So he comes in with the Dancing Pineapple, obviously because he's not packing anything fairy on that Glade, as it turns out, I guess. Miss the critical first Hurricane. Get the second one, and the Pineapple nails me in the face with an Ice Beam.
I'm actually really surprised that Pineapple actually lived through the Hurricane.
Yes.
I mean, that is weak to Hurricane.
He is. That Pineapple is also rather tanky. So, bring out the Omastar. First time we've seen the Omastar. It comes in, my classic... I love Omastar with Shell Smash. It is so much fun, and it is ridiculously good to sweep things with. Unfortunately, as we shall see in just a moment, here we go, the White Herb. There it is. Ludicolo did not get that message. Ludicolo just eats it.
Well, you were a rock type, which means you're going to be 4 times weak against a Giga Drain there.
Rock water, 4 times, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, figured I'm going to ruin his parade. Ultra Duck, grass type, very least he's going to take neutral damage from a lot of the moves I've got rocking on Ultra Duck. Scold. Yeah. Not going to stick around for that. So, figured I'm going to throw in something that's going to take a hit. Go into the Aggron. Takes the Scold. I figured it would take that. But, 4 times weakness, critical, and, as you shall see, there's the Sturdy. Burn. Yeah. Yeah. This game just was not going my way. So, come in the Pikachu. Figured he's going to do some work. He scares the Ludicolo away. Swings into the Vileplume. Takes a bit of Stone's damage. Takes a Volt Tackle. Unfortunately, that's the wrong choice. Volt Tackle would have finished off that Ludicolo, not the Vileplume. Oh dear. So, figured I'm going to get some mileage out of my Pikachu. Whack it with the knockoff. Get rid of its Black Sludge. It survives with 1 hit point. Right. Into the Ultra Duck. Getting rather frustrated at this point, I'll tell you that. He's not silly. He's not keeping the Vileplume around there to take a Fire Blast to the face. Takes the Mega Gallade. We have a bit of Vileplume. Mega Gallade survives it. It takes a lot of damage, though. Throws back the Stone Edge. Goodbye, Ultra Duck. So, as Llama actually said in these post wrap-up behind the scenes, the immovable force versus... the ultimate force versus the immovable object. It takes a close combat. So, Stonewall, the Gigalith Earthquakes, and takes out the Mega Gallade. My first KO during this fight. It shouldn't have been. It should have been about my 3rd or 4th, but first KO. So he's probably expecting a Cuss-Tap Explode at this point, just to go out in a bit of style. But no, I'm going to Cuss-Tap Superpower because derp. Oh dear. And that's it. Not my best performance.
No, I'd have to concur with that. I mean, there were definitely a couple of things that did jump out to me. I think that could have been a very different game had instead of you going for the Focus Blast with the Ultra Duck. So I know you pack a Thunderbolt on that.
Oh yes.
If you had gone for the Thunderbolt, I think that would have been a very, very different game there.
Could very well have been, yes. The Thunderbolt, I believe, has a slightly higher base damage.
Plus, it would have actually hit the Ludicolo, which would have been probably stab against the water side of that, as opposed to the Focus Blast not really doing anything to a Grass Water type.
Yeah.
So I think that might have been a better option there.
The other option, of course, would have been Lava Plume, which, okay, it would be neutral damage against Grass Water, but it's stab.
This is also true. And that could have, if it had taken that Ludicolo out, been a very different match there for you.
Oh, yes. Yes. So I guess I learned my lesson. No more Pokemon battles before morning coffee. But, oh man. I am just really off my game this morning, I'll tell you that. This morning? Yes, the other day. Whatever day it was. So, in memory of this occasion, I'm just going to put this up here. Our evil dancing pineapple. Oh, I am so ashamed of that battle. It should have been so much better, but nah. I just made so many mistakes. On the other hand, Llama was at the absolute top of his game.
I mean, Lama's had a really harsh run. He's been put through the ringer, so to have actually get a comeback victory for him is also a fantastic thing, and that'll hopefully get some confidence in there for him, bring up his game, and we will see definitely a stronger Lama in the next couple of weeks, I'm thinking.
I think so, yeah. Yes, do not underestimate that dancing pineapple. It seems like at this point we're starting to get a feel for everyone's kind of hidden weapon in their team.
And he's got enough practice with the core of that team now. That the Dancing Pineapple, the Mega Galad, and the Arcanon, they do make a very solid core.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a matter of applying the pressure right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, battle number 3. We switch it over here. We have... That is actually the entirely wrong battle. Let me just swap that back there for a moment because I haven't actually changed the video because I am professional. Okay, there we go. So, battle number 3, now it's actually showing the correct one. The Perth Hills Houndooms, Guthie, versus the Blue Mountains, Milotic, Nova Cascade.
And Guthie came into this particular battle. He and I, at the start of last week, were tied both as undefeated. And with me going down and losing my streak last week, Guthie and the Perth Hills Houndooms became the only undefeated team so far in this league. And so we know he's got a strong team coming into this one. And it looks like he's pretty much got 5 of the same 6 there. We've got the Megalopunny, the Volcarona, we've got Big Blue, we've got the Iceberg, and the Excalibur. But we've seen the Tentacruel. I don't think we've seen the Tentacruel into this team at all yet.
I don't believe so, no. All right, on the other side, we have the Gastrodon, we have the Excadrill, we have the Medicham. I don't think we've actually seen the Megacham either.
We did see it in one of the first 2 weeks, but it was definitely out of the game last week against me, because he was definitely going for a much tighter play around the Scolipede. But we've got the Scolipede again.
Yes, that Scolipede did a lot of work last week.
Oh my god, that Scolipede did so much work. And of course the Jolteon and the Mandibuzz.
Yep, so this ought to be a very interesting battle. I'm just interested to see who is going to be the first one to take down Guthie. That's going to be the game changer, I think. If someone can take him down. All right.
One Guthie, corner pocket.
All right, so let's press play on this. We get a bit of music going. There we are. So where are you thinking the openings are happening?
Opening of this one here, I'm probably guessing it's going to be either the Mega Lopunny or the Snorlax with Guthie. I think he's done the Lopunny a couple of times now.
Yep.
And Nova, he's done a bit of a change up there a few times. I'm not entirely sure, but he usually goes with that Mandibuzz because that thing is really, really, really tanky. I mean, I could barely even put a dent in the damn thing myself. But obviously, we do have the speed and the damage that Lopunny can put out.
Oh, yes.
And it could be tuned for fighting types there as well. Because we do know it can get things like Dizzy Punch and those sort of moves, which should put a big dent into the Mandibuzz.
Yep. He opted for a fake out, didn't do a whole lot, so he figured he's going to swap over to the Lancelosh, the Excavalier. You're right, that Mandibuzz is severely tanky. Look at the hits it's taking. Those should be doing a lot more damage to a flying type or a dark type.
It is very, very bulky. It doesn't go for the power on it, but the fact that it does heal itself, has the roost, it has the Brave Bird for just doing sheer amounts of damage, and the fact that it is knocking off, so it's getting the advantage of having an item when you don't.
Yes.
So you can't really take advantage of what you were thinking you're going to do.
Yeah. Do not underestimate the just the sheer game change that dropping an item off an enemy can be. You can't drop off Mega Stones, but everything else is fair game.
We've got the knockoff there again for the chip damage.
Yep. We got a flinch from the fake out, and that's enough to give the Mega Lopunny an opening to take out that Mandibuzz.
So we're about 1-1 here now.
Alright, Calliope. Ouch.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, if we notice, we've also seen the Lopunny now actually hit 3 of his 4 moves. We do know that he does occasionally run that Encore, or that last move, Lopunny trick.
Yes. Yep. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the Calliope set up and baton pass again this week. Guthrie was all over that. So, we got the Milotics. They brought out the Medicham, their Mega, up against the Volcarona. This could be interesting.
They're both speed demons, that's for sure.
Oh, yes.
But the thing is, we know that the Volcarona can't really live through much of a hit.
Yep. So, we had a bit of priority there, the Bullet Punch going off. Free damage at this point because of the switch out. Switching to the Gastrodon. Yep, here we go.
4x week, that will very wow. That Gastrodon's actually lived through a Giga Drain.
Yep,
quite surprising.
Yep, that Rindo Berry was exactly what he needed right there.
Must have been his special tech for this week, knowing that the Volcarona would probably come out.
Yep. So, unfortunately, though, there's another Giga Drain, and that's the end of the Gastrodon.
Now, I'm suspecting that he's probably going to bring out the Jolteon. Now, I haven't watched this battle, but at this point, I would be bringing out that Jolteon for the speed and the ability to hit.
Yes.
And there it is.
Exactly what he does. Yeah, the Volcarona's not sticking around for that. It's going instead for the Doug Trio and ensuring the type advantage.
Which, free switch, obviously, Thunderbird. Whoa, and a burn.
That's the Flame Ward coming in. So, Hidden Power. Woo. I'm not sure what that hit was. Hidden Power Water, perhaps?
Probably Hidden Power Ice. A good Jolteon should have Hidden Power Ice to give it neutral coverage.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, we're starting to see this Doug Trio do its thing again.
And as I've mentioned in previous weeks, this thing is blisteringly fast. Back in Gen 1, it was one of the fastest things out there.
Yep.
It Electrode, Mewtwo, and Gengar.
Yes, yes. So we see a bit of priority. That's enough to put down the Doug Trio. Ooh, and there goes the Volcarona, leaving behind a little present, though. Gotta love that Flame Body. Really love Flame Body.
We've got a bit of tit for tat here, too. So, I mean, they're both losing Pokemon at a fairly steady rate.
Yep. So here we go. Fighting versus fighting. Well, actually, does Medicham hang on to its fighting type while it's...
I'm not entirely sure. Let me actually check that out.
Yeah.
But we do have the water type and water poison of the Tentacruel coming in. Those are quite bulky if they are built right, and I suspect very much that he has built that out correctly too.
Oh, yes. All right, here we go. So the Medicham's out of here. Here comes the Excadrill.
And that's not going to be a great situation for the Excadrill. I mean, it is going to win on speed, but that Scald will one-shot it.
That really stings. And that's the battle.
Right down to the wire too, but they still had the Snorlax ready in waiting there. So I mean, a 2-0 win. We're getting closer to chipping Guthrie down, but the Houndooms obviously is still a very, very solid team.
Oh, absolutely. All right. I think Milotics were actually hoping to see that Snorlax come out a lot sooner, that they could throw the Medicham at it. That would be the ultimate way to take that out. But, yeah, Snorlax did what Snorlax does and sat on the bench doing nothing.
Medicham, let's see, to confirm what it does. So it's Fighting Psychic. Just checking the data here on this thing. It would actually help if the pages actually pulled up the right amount of information. Turns out Bulbapedia is good, but not quite good enough. Yes, under the Mega, according to Smogon's database, it does retain Fighting Psychic and is a pure power. So, main thing it gets is a 20-point speed boost and a 40-point attack boost, which is enormous.
It is. It is. Okay. But last but certainly not least today is... Whoops, let me just stop that playing. There we go. Getting that wrong. The Adelaide Crobats versus the North Sydney Ninetales. Kaka versus Dazzles. So, sir, this is all you.
Okay, so this was a bit of a tricky one because I know Dazzles is very much a tricky fellow. He has a solid team. He's got some great walls in there. He's got some great attackers as well. And his team is well balanced between special attackers and physical attackers. The thing was, Dazzles actually brought the same team that I was expecting him to bring. So played right into my game plan there. I was expecting to see the Slowbro, the Azumarill, the Fortress, and I was expecting to see the Fortress probably as his lead there, given that we know he does like to set up, get some stones out there, get some spikes, and just generally cause a bit of havoc and just see what's going on, because that thing could take a hit. It's solid. His main core of combat units, I'm expecting to be the Ninetales, of course, the Mega Altaria, and the Azumarill, with the walls being the Venusaur and the Slowbro for both the special and physical side of things. Sorry, physical and special side of things in that order. So my game plan here was basically to lead with something that could flexibly handle whatever he actually played as his opener. So I've brought in the Kecleon again. We see the return of the Breloom to the front lines. The Bisharp is back, and of course my core three, my Clefable, my Deadly Duck, and of course the Megazard.
Yes, indeed.
So, the game plan here, if we want to start this particular battle, I chose to lead with the Kecleon, because I basically figured whichever Pokemon he led with, that Kecleon had an answer for. Even though I was expecting the Fortress, I did my typical thing. I had this thing programmed in my head where I think Fortress is Steel Grass for some reason. I don't know why. I know it's a Steel Bug, but I keep thinking, oh yeah, Steel Grass. I'll just Aerial Ace that thing and it'll go down. And
every time you talk about it on the forums, you always call it a Ferrothorn.
Yeah, it's the same thing in my head, and I don't know why. So that was my big mistake in that open there, which basically got him effectively a nice big free stealth rock that I really should have gone for that Drain Punch that first time. Yes. And we'll see exactly why in just a moment, how much damage that Drain Punch actually did. But just crunching numbers, he wouldn't have actually killed the Foresters anyway. It is that bulky. But would have just been a nicer dent in it, to be honest. So we see
not sticking around with the Fortress.
No, definitely not. Because he wants to get in there and just start wearing me down. But obviously that's a free switch against the Drain Punch because the Psychic. That's not happening anywhere.
Nah. Yeah.
And I have to admit, I did actually regret one or two of the choices I actually had on this Kecleon. I've got a few different Kecleon setups. Probably should have had a knockoff Kecleon. It would have been a lot more ballistically horrible for him. But it is what it is. Shadow Sneak's going to put a dent in it. It's going to make his life a little bit of a misery. And that Thunder Wave is, basically making this Kecleon just going to sit in there and sacrifice itself until, I'm ready to put something else in. There's no point giving him a free switch. Yeah.
That said, at least the Shadow Sneak is doing some work for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a stab attack because it's a Protean Kecleon. It's good against Psychic. So it's just going to put a big dent in him, and that's fine.
So we've got a bit of recovery there.
Didn't know the Slowbro could do that, so that was a little unexpected. But fortunately, brother, we love grass types, and of course, that's a water Psychic type. This is a trick I've been trying to get the Breloom to do for a little while now, and it just hasn't worked until just right now. Gotta love Spore.
I never noticed that before. Actually, the Cloyster on the Slowbro's tail goes to sleep as well.
Well, they're essentially a Slowbro that's been bit by the Cloyster, or Slowpoke and Cloyster mix thing.
Yes.
I was really surprised that he actually left the Slowbro in here because the free Swords Dance. That should be keywords will get me the hell out of here. and given that was a bullet punch, no, not bullet punch, bullet seed, that's just going to eat the thing. Now, I have to admit, Dazzles and I both had a bit of a raging headache going on, and unfortunately, Dazzles is not super well at the moment either. And he kind of forgot because he thought he'd swapped the Slowbro out, that the Slowbro had gone down, which technically meant I can now play a second Spore here because we can have one Pokemon asleep at the time.
Yes.
Funnily enough, I got a text message about 2 seconds after that saying, "Hang on, Spore."
Yeah. To be fair, I think his message last night was, "I'm dying." So.
Yeah, well, let's hope he doesn't die. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to admit, I was thinking, do I go for the Swords Dance here, or do I just go for the balls to the wall? Because I know if I need to, I've probably got some sort of high-speed fighting attack which will put a dent in it. But lucky him with the Bullet Seed, that unfortunately for him, the Mega Altaria went down in one shot of 5 hits. If you're running the numbers at home, you're probably guessing that's a Technician Breloom. Obviously, dumb idea to leave the Breloom against the Ninetales. I was thinking a number of things could potentially actually happen here. So he has several options. Does he bring the Azumarill in? Well, it's a water type. It could be a Sap Sipper. It may not be. It could be huge power. So 50-50, but again, it's fairy type. It's weak to fighting. Does he bring the other thing that he had? I should check my notes. I really should, because I've got all those notes up here, and I'll know in like 30 seconds or so.
Yeah. Ooh, hello, a surrender.
Yeah, we did actually have a surrender there. So just going back to my notes about this particular duel, where was it? Because it is kind of relevant to the logic on this one. Sorry about this, boys and girls. I'm just grabbing these. There we go. So, as I was noting, there were a few options. With the Ferrothorn could come back out, but again, it's a steel type, didn't have much hit points left. It's probably going to get spored. It's probably going down in a screaming heap. Not a great option.
Again, by the way.
Yeah. And of course, the Megazard's there as well. That could just barbecue the thing.
Well, Megazard's got it coming and going because flying fire against Bug Steel.
Yeah, and like, even if it did come in, sure, I'm going to lose half my hit points on the Megazard, but it's got speed. It's going to go and hit that really hard. The Azumarill really can't come in because if it does, if it's not sap sipping, it's going to get switched straight into the Bisharp, which Steel, and it's going to be faster, so that's going down there. His only option was either Kiri, which is going to force the Breloom out. Given that he historically has that thing scarfed, and also is going to beat the Breloom in speed anyway, or he can bring out the Venusaur, which is going to be resistant to the Spore, but again, Venusaur will then have probably the Mega Charizard coming in as an answer. So unfortunately, as we saw the Porygon come in, trade a few blows, that thing can obviously take stab, drought, fire moves, and just lucked into the Thunder Wave. With Kiri, his core offensive set was shut down at that particular point. There's nothing he could really do.
Yeah, unfortunately that is the case. You kind of put him in a corner there. All right then. So we're back and we've got the scary dancing pineapple back on the screen again. I'll get rid of it for next week, but for now, be terrified. Okay, so round 5 next week. Well, this week now, I suppose it is. We have the Adelaide Crobats versus the Melbourne Missingos. Kaka versus Bidoofs.
That's right. We've got yourself, the North Queensland Noiverns, and the Brunswick Bidoofs. That's Duke and yourself, Fern.
Yep, I am really hoping I'm actually ready for this one. Because he's got a few tricks and I'm not... Ooh, it could be tricky. Could be interesting.
And that moody Bidoof, that can get really scary really quickly.
It can. It can do just about anything. And you never know what it's going to do. So, we have the Perth Cloysters versus the Perth Hills Houndoom. Perth versus Perth. Stay away from Perth.
Perth showdown.
Llama versus Gaffy. Just stay away from Perth. It's going to be fireworks. Yeah. And
we also have the New South Wales showdown with the Blue Mountains Milotics versus the North Sydney Ninetales.
Yeah, stay away from Sydney and the Blue Mountains and just basically anything in between.
Hot to Stevie, that one.
So, it's all to be a good round. Very good round. I believe we've got a few more rounds actually before we start in on the rematches.
We do. That's right. Because we've got the first 3, then we run 4 rounds of the opposing team. So there should be this week, next. Well, we are in this week now, aren't we? Really?
Yes.
Next week and the week after. Then obviously we got the 3 rounds of rematch before we go into our final series.
Absolutely. And again, our finals will land on PAX weekend, PAX East. We're going to steal the spotlight, by the way. Just saying. So then, thank you for putting up with our nonsense and for another week, folks. And our really bad commentary.
It's not.
Well, it's not really that bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad, except the part where we just keep talking over each other because we have bad timing. But Queenslanders, whatever.
So, I am going to throw us back to the logo in just a moment. Thank you for visiting, everyone. We shall see you next week.